Merry Christmas, everyone. I just want to give a quick review of an Edgar Cayce channeled reading on the collective universal consciousness vision of the Christmas story. So this will be from a specific reading channeled by Edgar Cayce. And if you all remember, and those that don't, the relationship between Edgar Cayce and CCWH is that Dr. La Follette, who came through our founder, Michel Luthon, was Ara Ararat in a different lifetime in Egypt at the same time Edgar Cayce's life as Rata. And together they, along with the children of the Law of One from Atlantis, built the Great Pyramid and started a new age to help in the restoration of mankind back into the light. So Edgar Cayce was asked to give a clearer vision into the birth of Jesus Christ. In Edgar Cayce's, or the universal consciousness view of, was a timeless perspective. It is not just a story about an event 2,000 years ago, but continues to occur and has been occurring forever. And such a mind-opening idea that one cannot but be in wonder over such an expansive view of life. Cayce saw the Christmas event as an ever-occurring experience in the hearts and minds of every soul, both the individual soul as well as the group soul of humanity. He will not allow us to assign a point on a timeline for this apparent timeless cycle of birth and promise. So his teaching on this is found in a reading numbered 262-103. So I'm going to quote the reading now. I think it's enlightening and I wanted to share it with everybody. So here's the quote. In giving to these then that seek to know more of that circumstance of those conditions of surrounded that you call the first Christmas, do not confuse yourselves. While to you it may be a first Christmas, if it were the first Christmas, then there would be a last, and you would not worship, would not hold to that which passes. For time never was when there was not a Christ and not a Christmas. Unquote. So the point is, the universal consciousness is telling us there has always been a Christ. And before Jesus came, there was always a Christmas. So now we go back to the reading quote. We find that happening in Bethlehem of Judea ages and years ago, when that channel had so dedicated itself to the service of her maker as to become mother, wherein the whole world is shown that this must come to pass in the experience of those who would make themselves channels through which the Holy Spirit of God may manifest. that the world may know that he, God the Father, keeps his promises with the children of men. Unquote. So Casey's referring to the Immaculate Conception of Mary. So next, he asks us to consider what type of person draws these wonderful experiences to themselves. So quote, "And the hour approaches when nature is to be fulfilled in the natural courses in the experience of the mother, and his star has appeared, and the angels' choir, and the voices of those that give the great message. Who heard these, my children? Those that were seeking for the satisfying of their own desires, or for the laudation of their own personality? Rather, those close to nature, to the hours of meditation and prayer, and those that had given expression, no room in the inn, for no inn, no room could contain that as was being given in a manifest form." Unquote. So I found that very interesting to share. I always thought no room in the inn meant the inn was full. But the universal consciousness is not saying that. It's saying that there was no room in the inn for this event. It was too grand, too great, too much of a Christ consciousness and vibration, too many visitors, so that there was no room in the inn to contain the event of Christ's birth. So I continue the quote, it be a little bit more. Quote, "Thus this comes at this time to bring to the hearts and minds of those of that glad period the fact that not only 2,000 years ago, but today, he may be born into your own consciousness, your own understanding. He comes unto his own. Art thou his? Have you claimed him? Have you put on the Christ, even as is exemplified in that life, that birth, that death of Jesus the Christ? For he is your elder brother. He is your babe in your heart, in your life, to be then, even now, as then, nourished in the heart, in the body, in the mind." Unquote.